If I were to ask you who the number one tank in Overwatch is, who comes to mind? Most of you would probably answer Reinhardt, and that makes sense. He's the one in front of the team walking them safely to the objective. But what you may be surprised to hear is that based on competitive pick rate, Zarya holds the crown. That's right, week after week Zarya has been played more often than Reinhardt. Why is that? Well, because although Reinhardt may be the front line of any Overwatch team, Zarya is the backbone. She's durable and versatile, setting up ultimates, protecting teammates, and even dishing out damage herself. Zarya does a little bit of everything and is useful in most situations. Today I'd like to dive into why that is as we take a close look at her kit and discuss what makes her so very strong. Let's begin with her skills, Particle and Projected Barrier. This is where she gets her damage, utility, and durability, protecting both herself and her teammates in crucial situations while also charging her weapon. We'll start with Particle Barrier, a self-shield that absorbs 200 damage with a duration of 2 seconds and a cooldown of 10 seconds. And while a 200 damage shield is respectable, it can actually block much more. Zarya's barriers will prevent infinite damage from a single hit, meaning if she activates Barrier just before D.Va's ultimate, which deals 1000 damage, or Junkrat's ultimate, which deals 600 damage, it will prevent all of it. Not only does it absorb damage, but it also grants immunity to control effects like stuns and slows. As such, it completely negates Reinhardt's ultimate, Roadhog's hook, Mei's freeze, McCree's flashbang, etc. And on top of this, any damage her shield takes charges her weapon, increasing its damage. If the shield is fully used during the 2-second duration, she will gain 50% weapon charge. Next up, she has Projected Barrier, which functions exactly like Particle Barrier, but is on a shorter cooldown and can only be placed on allies. It absorbs 200 damage or more from a single hit, grants immunity to control effects, and charges her weapon 50% if fully used. But the best thing about Projected Barrier is how clutch it can be for saving her team or setting them up. Throwing a barrier on a diving Reinhardt or Winston, saving a teammate who was just hooked by Roadhog, shielding Genji or Reaper as they use their ultimate, or simply protecting her healers from enemy flankers. Projected Barrier is incredibly helpful at every point in the game, making her an invaluable asset to the team. Now I'd like to talk about her weapon, Particle Cannon. This has 2 modes of attack, a beam and an explosive charge. Both of these attacks will have varying damage based on the charge that she's built from her barriers. So let's start with her primary attack, the Particle Beam. It's a short-range beam that deals between 75 and 150 DPS, with a range of 15 meters. Shields and barriers will block the beam, however it is not affected by abilities that prohibit projectiles, like Genji's Reflect or D.Va's Defense Matrix. Particle Beam ignores both of these. This attack has higher DPS than her alternate fire, as such it should be used against single targets who are within that 15-meter range. Now on to the alternate attack, Explosive Charge. This is a long-range projectile that deals between 46 and 95 damage in a 2-meter radius and causes slight knockback. This attack is best used against players who are out of range of the beam, or groups of enemies who are clumped together. Explosive Charge also gives Zarya a small boost to jump height if shot at her feet, effectively known as a rocket jump. Now while an uncharged Zarya hits like a wet noodle, a fully charged one is a monster, dealing damage comparable to many of the game's offensive heroes. A Zarya who can maintain a high charge for most of the game can be a big problem for the enemy team. And the final part of her kit is the ultimate Graviton Surge, one of the best abilities for setting up team wipes in the game. Zarya launches a gravity bomb that draws in enemies within 8 meters, deals slight damage, but more importantly, prevents them from moving. This is so strong because it essentially serves up the enemy team on a silver platter, allowing Reaper, Pharah, Junkrat, D.Va, Hanzo, basically anyone, to get much better use out of their ultimate. It's effective in coordinated teams because of its synergy potential, but also effective in uncoordinated teams as it's a big, obvious attack the enemy now announcement. And the last thing I want to mention about her are her base stats. Although she has one of the lowest highest health pools of any tank at 400, half of that is shields, which recharge after a few seconds out of combat. That plus her particle barrier give her an effective health pool of 600 whenever things get sticky. This makes Zarya one of the more sustainable tanks. This also makes her a great choice if you play solo and can't rely on your healers. Having 200 health and recharging shields on top of a 200 health barrier makes her very self-sufficient. For all of these reasons, and probably more that I haven't mentioned, it's not surprising that Zarya is the #1 tank in Overwatch, getting consistently picked more often than Roadhog, Winston, D.Va, and even Reinhardt. So the next time you're thinking of which tank to play, consider giving the weightlifting Russian a try. Alright everybody, that is going to do it for me here today as we talk about why Zarya is the #1 tank in Overwatch. Hope you all enjoyed the video. As always, I want to know what you guys think about the content, about what I talked about the video itself. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a great afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.